welcome, and to everyone else, welcome back. Each safari trip's a little bit different, so hopefully you get to see some of your favorite animals out there on the reserve and learn some new fun facts. Now, we are entering the Little Ituri Forest here, and the Little Ituri Forest is known for animals who are pretty shy and reclusive. They are also excellent with camouflage. So, in this area, look everywhere. In the leaves and the trees, they can be hanging out just about anywhere here. Starting with over on the right-hand side is an okapi back by those trees there. You can see the back end. It does have zebra-like stripes, but they are not related to the zebra. Their closest relative is a giraffe, and very similar to a giraffe, they have a long prehensile tongue, helpful for grabbing hold of their favorite snacks. Now, they are more of a recent discovery, discovered in the early 1900s, while their average lifespan is about 30 years. Over to the left-hand side of the truck on that hill, there are some saddle-bill stork, named after the yellow saddle shaped on their beak. And directly behind, kind of with its head sticking out at us, is a bongo. Now, hopefully we'll be able to see some more of those bongos if you missed them. But bongos are nicknamed the ghost of the forest, and this is because they have tilted back horns, which allow them to soundlessly go throughout the forest without being heard by their predators. Their light back helps with that as well. It reflects the sunlight off of them, giving them that nickname, the ghost of the forest. The males and the females both do have those horns. The best way to tell them apart is by their color. Males are more of a darker orange shade. Now, over on the left-hand side of the truck, laying down just by those rocks there, it's got its back towards us right now, that is a black rhino. Does kind of blend in with the rocks there, so look closely. Black rhinos are about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds, and very similar to a horse, they can gallop. But they can gallop at speeds of 30 miles per hour, so just imagine that large animal galloping. Their horns are made out of keratin, the same material as our nails and hair, so with time it will grow in length. Now, hanging out in the trees here on the right-hand side, that tan-colored animal directly next to us, those are called greater kudus. And the greater kudus are the second largest antelope out here on the reserve. That was a female, it doesn't have horns. The males will look identical, but they do have twisted back horns. So that's the best way to tell them apart. And very, very similar to the bongo, they have light fur which reflects the sunlight off of them, making them harder to be spotted out by us and their predators. But we are exiting the Little Ituri Forest and entering the Santi River. And the Santi River is known for more aquatic animals. So in this area, be on the lookout in the water this time instead of the leaves and the trees. Look for any ripples or bubbles in the water. Larger animals like to hang out in the water there. On the right-hand side of the truck, those large white birds there in the water are called pink-back pelicans. Pink-back pelicans get their pink backs around mating season. It's kind of like they're naturally blushing. They have really large gullers that helps them store lots and lots of fish. And they are the largest bird that still does nest in a tree. Now, on the left-hand side of the truck there is a Nile hippo. You can kind of see its back and the top of its head there. So hippos are very, very large animals. They be roughly the size of your car. And they do spend most of their time submerged underwater. They subconsciously come up for air every several minutes at a time. Now, the longest a hippo will hold its breath is about 8 minutes or so. And there's one over here on the left-hand side coming up for some air.
Oh my god.
Now, a group of hippos is called a bloat.
Yes.
And hippopotamus in Greek does mean river horse, which actually is one of their nicknames because they don't always swim. Sometimes they'll walk along the bottom of the water that they are found in. Now, if you look over to the left-hand side, there is a whole bloat of hippos hanging out there. It looks like they like that spot back by the waterfall in the corner. Now, also on the left-hand side of the truck, in the water there is a Nile crocodile. So when we go over this bridge, just pay attention to the water here. Look on both sides, pay attention to those logs. So if you were to stand one up from the bottom of its tail to the top of its snout, that's roughly the height of a giraffe. And they are excellent mothers. They hold the eggs of their babies in their mouth to protect them from predators. On those really, really hot days, they'll lay there with their mouth that are to release heat from their body. Crocodiles only need to eat one meal per week because they eat half their body weight in food. Now over on the right-hand side of the truck, this large tree might look a little familiar to you. This is called a baobab tree, or as some of you guys know it, the tree of life. And it does have another nickname, the upside down tree, because if you look closely at the top of the tree, it kind of looks like there's roots on the top instead of the bottom. This is only because this tree goes leafless 9 months out of the year, so most of the year there is no leaves on top of that tree. And it can store 10,000 gallons of water in its trunk.
10,000.
That baobab tree is very beneficial for animals in the savannah during the dry months because they can grab hold of the water there at the bottom by grabbing the bark and getting water that way, or if it's got tusks like an elephant, it can just poke a hole at the bottom of the tree trunk. But with that baobab tree, that does mean we are entering the savannah. Here you're going to see some animals that you know and love, starting with the Hartman mountain zebras over on the right-hand side of the truck. Hartman mountain zebras do have bare stomachs, so their stripes don't go all the way around their stomachs. So that's how we know what type of zebra it is. A group of zebras is called a crowd, and baby zebras do memorize the stripe patterns on their moms in order to find them in those large dazzles. Babies are up and walking an hour after being born. Now, directly behind those zebras there are some Maasai giraffes, which hopefully we will get a better glance here in just a moment, but they're kind of hard to miss. When they're fully grown, they're about 16 to 18 feet tall, while the babies are 6 to 7 feet tall when born.
Oh my god. Really?
On the left-hand side of the truck, just laying down underneath those rocks there, are some African painted dogs. African painted dogs are the highest hunting succession rate in all of Africa. So that does mean that they have the highest hunting succession rate in all of Africa, meaning that they do beat out the lion. They're known for their incredible endurance and collaboration with one another, while the females are the head of the pack. Now, if you look towards the back of the truck on the left-hand side in that far back corner, there's some sable antelope. They got those tilted back horns. Sable antelope males and females do have those tilted back horns as a way to protect themselves from predators. So if a predator hops on their back, all they have to do is tilt back those horns. Now, we are getting a little bit closer to those Maasai giraffes. I do want to point out there is a baby Maasai giraffe over on the right-hand side of the truck. So that smaller Maasai giraffe right there, he is already about 4 months old, and you can see just how tall he is.
Wow.
Now, if you look all around us, there are these sand-like structures here. These sand-like structures are called termite mounds, and termite mounds are made out of termite dung, saliva, and soil. Larger animals, like the Maasai giraffe, use this as a scratching post, while smaller animals go to the very, very tops of those mounds to get a better vantage point. Now, when you take a look at the pattern on those Maasai giraffes here, you will notice they have a more rough pattern. So that's how we can tell them apart from different types of giraffes. And very similar to our fingerprints, each pattern on that giraffe is unique to that individual giraffe. What separates it from others? On the right-hand side of the truck here, these large animals that look like cows with horns, these are called Ankole cattle. And Ankole cattle are seen as a status symbol or a symbol of wealth. And those look like they're fairly heavy, but they actually have a honeycomb-like structure on the inside, which actually regulates their body temperature. Horns are anywhere between 3 to 4 feet in length. Now, going back to those Maasai giraffes, you might notice that a lot of them are eating. They spend 20 hours a day snacking. So most of their day is involved snacking. And very similar to the okapi, they have those long prehensile tongues, helpful for grabbing hold of the food that they want. However, their tongues are much, much longer, about 1 foot in length. Now, on the top of the hill there, on the right-hand side, you can see one springbok hanging alone up there on that corner there. It's a tan-colored animal with a white underbelly. Smallest antelope out on the reserve. And directly past us on the right-hand side, that tan-colored animal that's fairly large with the tilted back, or with those twisted horns there, is called an eland. So that's the largest antelope out here on the reserve. So elands, the males will occasionally place branches on those horns to impress the female elands. They do have a dewlap in their throat, cools down their body temperature, and regulates really
It's
sad.
mountain goat justice are there.
And directly next to us on the right-hand side are some wildebeest, the dark-colored animal that is staring at our truck right now. Wildebeest do have silk glands on their hooves, which allow them to keep up with other wildebeest, especially when they go in large herds of thousands. And they make a repetitive GNU noise, which is one of their nicknames. On the left-hand side, you can see this Maasai giraffe using its long tongue and neck to grab the very tops of the trees there. A group of giraffes is called a tower in and they have really large hearts about the size of a basketball. Their neck, when fully grown, is anywhere between 5 to 6 feet in length. So it does take a little bit of time for the blood from their hearts to go all the way to the top of their brains. Now, we're going to right on the left-hand side in case you happen to see anything.
Ini dia, ini ya. Okay.
On the right-hand side of the truck is an African elephant. Males are 13,000 pounds and females are 8,000 pounds. Now keep paying attention on the right-hand side. We're going to get a better view up around this corner here.
Whoa.
Here we go. Now, African elephants, you might notice they do wave their ears back and forth like this one is doing right here. That's a way for them to cool down their body temperature. So they have really thin ears with blood vessels in the middle. So when they flap those ears back and forth, it creates a circulation in their body. Lowers their body temperature by 15 degrees. Very, very beneficial in the heat. Now, I can't guarantee anything, but pay attention on the right-hand side just in case you happen to see any more African elephants. If not, we'll go over this bridge and see what else is around the corner.
Good.
On the right and the left-hand side of the truck here, just underneath this bridge, is some red clay. Elephants eat this red clay to get minerals from it, kind of like us eating a multivitamin each day. Now, if you look closely on the right-hand side, there are some test marks. So hopefully that means we will see some African elephants. So just be on the lookout on the left-hand side of the truck. I do think I see one up here. African elephants have a pretty long gestation period, about 22 months. So just imagine being pregnant for a little under 2 years. It's quite incredible. Do not know how they do that. The males will get driven out of the herd in adulthood. They'll either live solo or form bachelor groups with other males, while the females typically hang out with other females and their calves. And African elephants have thousands of muscles alone in their trunks, which is very beneficial for many different purposes. They can grab hold of the food that they want, kind of like a hand or an arm like this one is doing in the far back corner, and place it in their mouths if they're hungry. Or they can store lots and lots of water in their trunks, very similar to a straw. If you've ever been to a restaurant, sucked water into a straw and then held it there, that's exactly what they will do. Hold it there with your thumb, that's exactly what they'll do. They'll hold that water, store it, throw it on their backs, or splash it in their mouths if they're thirsty and want a drink. They also can use their trunks for dust bathing, which is when they take dust or mud and throw it on their backs because their skin is very sensitive.
Pani खाइरहेछ.
I want to point over on the left-hand side, there is a baby just in front of the truck here. So look to the left-hand side by this tree. It's right in front of me right now. This baby is already a year old.
अभी याम गरिरहेछ हैन.
From this far corner, see its head there. On the left-hand side of the truck here are a whole bunch of greater flamingos. And greater flamingos are the largest and the palest of the flamingo species. They do not start off that pink shade. They get that from all of the shrimp that they enjoy eating. Awesome! I'm glad you get to see some. Now, very similar to a food strainer, they can strain out any additional water in order to get easier access to all of that shrimp they enjoy eating. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance, and they hang in pretty large colonies where water is most prominent. Very rare for them to be anywhere besides the water. On the left-hand side of the truck, there are some white rhinos. So they're much larger than the black rhino we saw earlier today. They're about 4,000 to 6,000 pounds versus 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. So we get a little bit closer here. But you might notice there's a large pit of mud over there on the left-hand side. So they spend a lot of time wallowing in that mud. It protects their sensitive skin, kind of acting like a sunscreen and a bug repellent all in one. And black rhinos do have, or white rhinos do have wider mouths compared to the black rhino that has a triangular shaped mouth. Now their wider mouths help them graze the grass below, where the black rhino, their triangular shaped mouth helps them grab hold of leaves and shrubs. It does look like they are resting right now, pretty tired.
야 저러나 일로.
Now on the left-hand side of the truck is my favorite animal out here on the reserve. Look in the grass, kind of laying down right there, is a cheetah. So if you can't see it right now, look for the flick of the tail or the top of the head. That's the best way to see it. It does have excellent camouflage. Now cheetahs can run top speeds of 60 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds. And their claws don't entirely retract. That helps them with traction when running those fast speeds. As well as their tail helps them make sharp left and right hand turns. Cheetahs do have black marks underneath their eyes. It reflects the sunlight off of them, giving them their own built-in pair of sunglasses. Cheetahs do communicate very similar to a house cat in chirps, purrs, and occasionally some meows. Now on top of those Kopi rocks there to the left-hand side, you can see a female lion laying down. It's got its back towards us right now. We are going to go around the rocks here, maybe see if we can get a better view. But I do want to point out, you can kind of see its head right there. So lions do spend 16 to 20 hours a day sleeping. So most of their day is involved with sleeping. They are crepuscular animals, meaning they're most active during dawn and dusk when they do most of their hunting. And the females do all of the hunting. A group of lions is called a pride that consists of one male who is the mane and several females who do not have the mane. And they have excellent night vision, about 4 times better eyesight than our human, about 6 times better eyesight than our human eyes at night.
Oh wow.
Now you can see the male, he is on this rock over here. Looks like he's laying up right now, so you might get a better view. Here we go.
Wow, look.
So keep looking over to the left-hand side. They are up right now, so maybe they see something. Maybe. Now, if you guys have ever seen Lion King, Mufasa, King, Simba, Lion, and Nala, yes. Pretty cool. Like I said, they spend a lot of time sleeping, so it's awesome that you guys get to see some of them up right now.
That's awesome.
Now those rocks that they were laying on are called Kopi rocks. They do spend a lot of time laying on those for resting, but also they will occasionally go to the very, very tops of those Kopi rocks there to get a better view of their predators. So who knows, maybe they were staring at those white rhinos. You can see a couple more of those white rhinos over here on the right-hand side.
धेरै एनिमल देख्न पायो नि आज त लायन पनि
I don't see any ostriches, but I do see some ostrich eggs over here. So look over to the right-hand side.
Yeah.
There's large yellow eggs hanging out on the grass there are ostrich eggs. And the ostrich eggs are incredibly durable. So an adult human can stand on one of those eggs and they won't break. They're about 3 pounds or 24 chicken eggs if you want to view it that way. And female ostriches do share the nest with other female ostriches, while the more dominant females place their eggs in the middle of So female ostriches will have gray feathers, and male ostriches will have black feathers with white tips on the end. So that's how you can tell them apart. We are entering the warden's post now, and if you look over on the left-hand side of the truck, there are some Nigerian dwarf goats on top of the warden's truck, and also inside the warden's truck. As you can see, they are excellent climbers, and these are domesticated dairy goats, so the warden is getting some dairy from those goats. They do have a 4-chambered stomach, which allows easier digestion. But if you do look in front of the warden's post there is a yellow stretched structure that's hanging there. That is a beehive, and that beehive is super important because elephants face 3 major threats during their lifetime, and that's habitat loss, poaching, and human-elephant conflict. So a way that the Disney Conservation Fund has helped with human-elephant conflict is by partnering with a project called the Elephants and the Bees Project. Here they did lots and lots of research and discovered that elephants are terrified of bees. So in order to deter elephants from bulldozing over farmers' crops, they would place beehives like the one we saw back there just outside the fields. And this is a win-win situation because the elephants remain safe out of harm's way, get to continue on living their lives, while the farmers can make profit from the beehive's honey and their undamaged crops, allowing that elephant and the farmer to live in harmony with one another. That does eliminate one of their 3 major threats, human-elephant conflict. So if you do have any more questions about the Disney Conservation Fund, make sure to talk to any of the merchandise cast members today during your visit. And if you would like to contribute, any dollar donation will be matched by Disney. And not only does it help projects like the Elephants and the Bees Project, it helps many of the animals that we saw out on the reserve today, including some of your favorites. It allows them to have longer lasting lives and protect the environments that they do live in. Plus, you get a pretty cool button that you can wear around knowing that you made a difference out there. But if we do have any wilderness explorers on board today, your code word for the safari trip is Simba1. Simba like the lion, 1 like the number, and you will get your safari badge just outside the exit. Someone in all green with an orange safari badge will give it to you for completing the safari. Now, if you did enjoy your safari, my name is Katie from Cincinnati, Ohio, and around here we do not like to say goodbye. That's far too sad and far too final. So instead we like to say Kwaherini, which means go well. So Kwaherini friends, go well.